Ladies and gentlemen, what a night in the Champions League. Today we're going to see how the French sports media reacted after Liverpool's dominant 3-0 victory away from home against Marseille. The French press was shocked, impressed and even frustrated by the English Giants' performance. This video is dubbed into English so you can fully understand what the French newspapers and analysts said after the match. If you enjoy this type of content, don't forget to subscribe to the channel, activate the notification bell, leave a like, and comment below where you're watching from. Your support helps the channel grow. Now, let's dive into the French media reaction after Marseille versus Liverpool.
It's the flying wall. We've got a flying wall, 45th minute and 1 minute of added time. Free kick, François Bossayer with the wall jumping. So is it the players' fault or the staff's? We'll do an amicable report. That'll give us a chance to get to know Roberto De Zerbi's staff. OM flop, which OM player disappointed you the most? OM in the playoffs, of course, there's always a chance to qualify. Why are you guys laughing? There's a problem.
With cheating, that's it.
I'm just breathing and the stool is making noise, so it's really annoying.
Welcome to the campsite. In the playoffs, a draw could be enough in Bruges to allow OM to continue their journey in this Champions League. It's a miracle. We'll talk about it. We might adjust the question based on Roberto De Zerbi's statements. But for now, 0, Liverpool 3. Was that too harsh a defeat? Dressing as you wish in the control room, my friends. Is this too severe a defeat? Sébastien Taragon?
No, it should have been 5-1 for the winter.
Thank you very much, Nabil Djelit. Not severe enough. They should have picked up more if we were playing with Salah's twin brother, Nicolas.
Yes, because Marseille should have scored anyway.
Yes, and Jérôme, no, not too severe. Nicolas, you are alone in the world?
Well, let's go.
Yeah, let's go. Let's send the jingle. The button is for the jingle. Nicolas, who do you want to face? Nabil, Sébastien, or Jérôme?
Whoever you want. Me, I don't have any, but that doesn't help him.
Very much. Try to face a guy you were on the same side with at halftime. So you're going to face Sébastien Taragon. There you go. Let's go. No, because here there's a chance he could talk to Nabil. Let's go. Was it too harsh a defeat? Yes, Nicolas Villas, the real score, and then tell us about the match. 1 minute 45, you have time.
I just wanted to say that they had 3 shots on target. Thank you.
Very much.
With great pleasure.
President Nicolas Sarkozy. And Sébastien.
I agree with Sébastien. I think it could have been harsher and almost normal because at one point, I think they conceded goals that really hurt them, especially the first one before halftime, but also, and above all, in my opinion, the second one. We saw that mentally they took a hit, and it's true, I agree. Sébastien, after that, Liverpool managed the game in a way that was almost embarrassing, a little bit. So it's quite logical there was a class difference. Now, the third goal, it's true that it could be problematic in terms of goal difference, but we'll see about that in 8 days. Afterwards, we saw a supposedly struggling Liverpool team. Personally, I didn't see them struggling at all. Tonight,
they're in recovery. They're doing a bit better. For several weeks now,
it hasn't been the best version of Liverpool. I think, it's a complete team, a team that knows how to defend and attacks very quickly. Right now, they're above Marseille.
Candice Rowland watched the match from the Velodrome side. Candice. From the stadium's perspective, the difference was abysmal. I quote Sébastien.
Yes, I think it was like that in front of the TV too. It's true that we didn't recognize this Marseille Olympique team. Perhaps one of the biggest regrets tonight will be not seeing players playing with freedom. First period, it was very complicated. You could see that every play took at least 2 touches. They weren't playing freely at all. A little bit better in the second half. But it's true that this 3-0 hurts. It's heavy. But in the end, when you look at Liverpool's chances, they hit the crossbar. There was that goal that was rightly disallowed as well. Rooney saved 1 or 2 as well. It was Mo Salah who missed the target. It's true that it could have been much worse. It's a shame for the goal difference, and it's a shame that Marseille didn't score. Even 3-1 would have changed things a little. But it's true that this could already leave a mark on the goal difference, on qualification, and mentally as well. We'll see. We're already looking ahead to the next match, which is Lens on Saturday.
Yes, we're also thinking about OM's possible qualification for the playoffs. Tonight, OM has 9 points. Looking at last year's standings, there wasn't a single team with 9 points. So there's really no point of reference. There were either teams with 8 points, like City, who were 25th and managed to reach the playoffs. Stuttgart, 10 points, 24th place. Well, they were the only team with 10 points not to qualify. They had faced PSG, who also had 10 points. Benfica Sporting also 10 points. It was a qualifying round. Then all teams have the opportunity to win tonight against Liverpool. Even though reality reminded us that it was tonight, mission impossible, 12 points. Last year, the 5 teams from Europe, Portimao, Bayern, Real, Juve and Celtic were qualified, my friends. We'll have a quick question, by the way, about OM's qualification for the playoffs. Jerome, you saw some good plays from OM. That was the defense's argument. They should have scored. The only regret you have is the goal conceded tonight, because there was too much of a gap between the two teams to even hope for a draw for Marseille.
So, indeed, whether we tally things up later or next Wednesday, I think the qualification will be decided. One goal for many teams, actually, just like last year. And the only regret I have is indeed not having closed the gap. But regarding the match itself, the football, the quality of play, the quality of the players, honestly, there's a class difference. It wasn't just 2. So I have no regrets. I actually felt very little emotion, as Seb said very well. We had about 10 minutes between the 45th and 55th minute where we thought, hey, something's happening. Maybe something could happen. And then after that, Liverpool turned it up a bit. And again, if that's really the case, Moussala, let me explain. It's not the same match, you see. And even you, when you're in the debate, when you start listing Marseille's players, who are your... Plus you said there was a good Greenwood and that was it.
Yes, but still, they did have some chances. But actually, that's the difference. Well, and again, as we said, they're not up against a team with huge salaries either, etc.
Not at all.
But it's true, even when you look at the stats, although stats can mean anything. But Marseille had more shots on target. And with Marseille, it's not that they could have scored, it's that they should have scored tonight, really. And that's why, for me, the criticism is too harsh, at least in my opinion. There isn't a 3-goal difference tonight between Marseille and Liverpool. There's a difference in class, sure, but 3-0, I mean, that's huge. But the...
Classroom games.
They are frank. Are there aren't 3 differences?
No, for me, there aren't 3 differences.
That, for me, there are 4 differences.
After that, I don't know. I don't think so.
Nicolas, have you been abandoned by your eternal partner?
Even Nabil is leaving you.
Listen, Nabil.
I think the stats are great, because in this case, they mean absolutely nothing. And they absolutely don't reflect what we saw in the match. Often, when we watch matches, beyond the principles of play, we can always discuss tactics. Pressing versus counter-pressing, teams playing on the counter-attack, rotating or not rotating. But here, really, sometimes you watch matches and you think, oh, how come this guy? He's worth 20 million and that one is worth 5 million. I don't think there's that big of a gap. Well, in this match, I really felt like there were players worth 100 million and really players worth 30 million. Max on the other side. Only one player could have played on the other side, and we all know who it is. Since you mentioned him, it's Greenwood. They just strolled through. There really wasn't a match at all. There was a so-called turning point at 1-0 when he hit the crossbar and then Junior Traoré counter-attacked. But if he was really worth 100 million, no, but come on.
Yet, a match existed. You say there wasn't one, but it lasted an hour. On the...
Second half, you mentioned a moment when it started to get awkward.
About what? Yes. But after an hour, I think mentally the second goal just knocks them out. So after that, there's no more match.
No, but actually, what allows them to stay in the game is Liverpool, not OM. Because Liverpool doesn't finish them off. They had some really clear chances.
No, up until the hour mark, that's not true. Until they concede the second goal. It's OM who could have come back to level the score in the first 15 minutes of the second half. Afterwards...
The usual for me, the side. There comes a point when you see players that... And it's good because sometimes timing really works out. Sometimes you see players worth 20 million and others worth 100 million. Yesterday that was the case. And yet it was even the 5 million players who won. Even though for 75 minutes you think these are 5 million versus 100 million players. No contest. Ultimately things, that's why for me...
Yes, but here it's all about the story of a scenario.
Yes, but it's all about a scenario. But that's why the logical side or...
No, it's pure rationality.
Okay, but Nabil, tonight Marseille scores. We agree that's logical since that's what we're talking about? No.
But wait, actually, this is exactly where I do not agree with you at all.
Regarding this class of cases...
It's just a snapshot. Liverpool is better than Marseille. If it's 5-1 there, getting there and saying it's 5-1 or 4-0, whether they score or not is minor.
What you mean, except that it's not?
Now, we also need to put things back into context a little. On the other side, it's the first team, it's a superpower, it's Liverpool. It's true they've had a bit of a rough patch, but things are getting better. And what makes me think, and what's more, it could have been much worse, is that Salah isn't even here tonight. Salah, he's not here. If Salah is here, yes.
That's what I just told you.
The proposed bill, however, is actually much more than...
Salty. But this isn't Liverpool in November, guys. They're still better now, though.
Yes, but...
So a Liverpool that's back to a good level and a normal Marseille, that's what it is, Descartes. Let's not kid ourselves either. And besides, it's not a big deal. Me...
That means nothing.
It's logical.
Why doesn't it mean anything?
Because it's not because I mean, just because you're on a streak, look, we can talk about Barca. They won 11 games in a row, and in the end, they got beaten. Why do you say it doesn't mean anything? It's logical. Nothing tonight.
Football lacks logic.
Look at yesterday's match. There's no logic, guys. But
Logic still holds.
Played 10 times, Liverpool wins 8. Once they draw, once Marseille and League
one,
at some point, I'll bet you if they play it 10 times. There's a Liverpool and Logan.
You say there's no logic. Whatever. Why do you say that? Really?
because what I mean is that if tonight they win 2-1 or it's a 0-0, it doesn't mean anything in reality.
In that case, we say nothing. We're just watching TV.
And going to have a drink, you could have a Rulli who wasn't the Rulli of tonight, for example, and who pulled off some saves like he's done in other matches. And you wouldn't say that's logical because you'd say Rulli had an amazing game. It's actually, in football, you have 11 guys on the field, each in their positions.
He made two very important saves. This
isn't the Rulli we've known before, though. He made two very important saves. So even if it's not his fault, it's just how the story goes. That's just how it is.
Well, look, actually, there's a sense of déjà vu with this. There's a sense of déjà vu. Because you're telling me, well, that's just how it happens. Each match, in the end, tells its own story. Exactly. In the 72nd minute, there's Frimpong, who attacks and is in a wide position. It's Pachau. I remember a goal conceded against Union Saint-Gilloise where Pachau was also out wide, also, let's say, playing the defender's role, and he was lost. And again, tonight, even though it's Rulli who puts it in his own
goal, here,
again, Pachau on this one, well, he's a forward. He's a forward, but here he's put on the spot. Everyone
is going to blame Pachau for this play. No, but he's the one in the duel. For me, there's one person who's
responsible.
Him?
Well, yes, Murillo, he's just watching.
He's behind Pachau, and actually he's there, but he's not really there. So you have to tell Pachau, you take the outside, you take the left, and I'll come on your right. At least then it's 2 against 1. Because right now, the way it played out, unfortunately, Pachau, like you just said, he's not a defender, so the other guy is going to dribble past him, and in the end, everyone will say, Pachau, what is he doing? It's
an event
in front, and Murillo.
We're talking about him because we were discussing it during the match. What's the player's condition for the season? Not just this match, but Murillo's season overall. Is it the offer, not the offer? Are you leaving? And at the end of the day, he's a starter tonight in one of Marseille's most important matches of the season, and he played the way he did.
Did that make you fall off your chair too?
No, but
by the way,
that's why. When we talked at the start of the match, we mentioned that famous defense, which was a bit experimental. But you're right, the Morio case, it kind of reflects what happened at OM at times. It's the story of a player who comes in. I think he arrived during the winter transfer window. He plays, and then in the end, they shove him aside. He's in the loft at the start of the season, and then he goes through a long, rough patch. Then they go and get him back. And then after that, he disappears again. And then he comes back, and he's a starter in the Champions League against Liverpool. In what kind of mental state? By the way, he could find himself. What kind of confidence does this player have?
I remember a press conference by Pablo Longoria, right around the time Zerbi arrived or a little after. And he said, that's it, the joke's over. Now we're building a team, we're building a group, we're going to stop changing things every 2 weeks. And we set out on a cycle of 3 or
4 years?
3 years. 3 years? 3 years. Then that's like 8 years anywhere else. And I simply note that the big shake-up still happens every 6 months. Sometimes even during the season when there's no transfer window. And now it just keeps going like back in 40.
In the month of January.
And it's complete nonsense. And where I might agree with Joe about the coach is that a coach, no matter what, and even if this one sometimes seems a bit odd to me, he can't do his job because everything keeps changing.
I've actually been looking into what's happening behind the scenes since we're currently in the transfer window. So OM is active right now. There are 2 midfielders who have arrived. Quinten is the first name. Sorry, he's Dutch. He just arrived yesterday, Timber. And Ethan Nwaneri from Arsenal. There's Imad Abdelli. Mehdi Benassi has confirmed, still hoping. And OM is also targeting the midfielder Lucas de Cunha. It's Mathieu Grégoire from L'Equipe who tells us this, whom we send our regards to. So 4 midfielders. Thereafter, 4 midfielders in the middle of the season.
No, but he said it all, really. We're still stuck in the same logic. They have
Hochberg and Kondogbia, to mention just a few.
Hochberg and Kondogbia are tiring, but that is separate.
We're recruiting.
No, but just one word. And we're recruiting. No, but actually what strikes me is 2 things. First, the emotional roller coaster, capable of reaching great heights, like against Paris Saint-Germain, for example, or in other matches throughout the season. And sometimes falling back into bad habits and then saying we have to change everything. And actually what I don't understand is that at the start of the season, they told us the circus was over, but now They bring in players suited for OM with the character and personality to play for OM, and players who don't take matches lightly. And in the end, it's an endless cycle. In fact,
So
those who, that is what identifies them, what they're targeting in the end, it's still not resolved. And in the end, somehow I still feel like there's a certain thrill to it. Sorry to put it this way, but it's like being at a casino and just keeping on making transfers. It never stops.
What we saw from Liverpool was a statement performance. The French media clearly recognized the gap in intensity, organization, and quality between the two teams. Marseille tried to compete, but Liverpool controlled the game, dictated the tempo, and showed why they are once again becoming a serious force in Europe. Under Arne Slot, this Liverpool side looks more balanced, more disciplined, and more confident. The pressing is aggressive, the transitions are deadly, and the attacking players are starting to click at the right moment. Goals from Szoboszlai, Gakpo, and the own goal caused by Liverpool's pressure highlight how relentless this team can be when they are in full flow. The French press being frustrated is understandable. Marseille is a historic club, but they were outplayed in almost every aspect of the game. Liverpool looked like a team rediscovering its identity, its intensity, and its European mentality. If Liverpool continues like this, they can be a very dangerous team in the knockout stages of the Champions League. The project under Arne Slot is starting to make sense, and the players are responding on the pitch. Once again, don't forget to subscribe, leave your like, and comment where you're watching from. Thanks for watching, and see you in the next video.